Hello there. I cannot really remember where I left off, what videos I've done, what videos I haven't done, but there's no way I'm going to review them. So I just wanted to tell you some of the new things. We obviously got a new dog. This is a Cocker Spaniel, and her name is Chester. We had, I don't know if you remember, we had a Yorkshire Terrier for 15 years, and she died, and we were really lonely. We were without a dog for about, I don't know, 2 weeks, maybe a month, and we were extremely lonely. So we got this dog, and she has horrible habits. She bites. She nips everything. She's actually very, very active and crazy. Right now she just kind of woke up, so we're lucky. But she gets in the dirt, and you know, her face is right down in the dirt. She's like a filthy little dog, eats crickets, everything. But she's also, as you can see, very, very lovey-dovey and floppy, and just love her. So this is one part of our new news. But I wanted to talk today about the similarities of prior gods. There were other gods that were mating with virgins before the god who, you know, mated with Mary without her consent, and they ended up with Jesus. You know, there were other gods who were also mating with virgins without their consent. So I don't know if you're familiar with the famous artwork called Danae. It was by Rembrandt, but there's also another version by Artemisia Gentileschi, and I'll show you that one because I like that one better. I just think it's really cool. So here, this right here is the artwork, and yeah, nice nude picture of this kind of blubby woman. I mean, they just never had any muscle back then. And you see all these little gold coins. The maid that is supposed to be taking care of her is paying attention to all the gold coins coming in and ignoring her. And she right now is being impregnated by the god Zeus, who changed himself into the gold coins so that he could slide down her vagina and impregnate her. So she was a prisoner because they wanted to keep her a virgin, but as you can see, the god Zeus outsmarted them. So I thought that was a pretty interesting example there of a virgin before Christ. This was like about 450 BC that Zeus was super popular. So I'm assuming it was written somewhere around there, that the tale was probably written somewhere around there, definitely before the Christ was even known about. So there also was a Vestal virgin named Rhea Silvia. Now she was the mother of twins, Remus and Romulus. And most people agree that the god of Mars was the person who, or not the person, the god who magically impregnated Rhea Silvia so that she had these twins. Now, I actually thought growing up that Remus and Romulus were real people. And I had a little trouble with it because I knew that they were rejected when they were very young. They were out in the woods and were raised by a wolf, and they nursed from a wolf. And I remember thinking, you know, that's odd. I don't know if that's possible. But then Romulus and Remus became shepherds. Romulus got mad at Remus one day and killed Remus, and then Romulus went on to become great, and he founded Rome, and he named Rome after himself. Rome, Romulus, similar. And so he ruled Rome as king. And of course, Rome was actually a city in 753 BC. So this was taking place a long time ago, right? So he ruled Rome until one day he mysteriously died. And he just disappeared. They couldn't find the bones, anything like that. Is this sounding familiar at all? So then he arose up to heaven, and one version has him going up in a solar eclipse, another version has him going up in a whirlwind, but there is a man who said that, I almost said Jesus, there is a man who said that Romulus appeared to him up in the sky. So there's another similarity on his way up to heaven. But, of course, the interesting thing about all of that, and all of this is written up, the family is very detailed and all of that, all of it is myth. The only thing that's real is that Rome actually existed and was a city. They even have Romulus as being born in 771 BC, but all of that is just simply myth. So it really shows how myths can become reality and how people can really believe it. I mean, after all, I believed it. I also believed that Jesus was a real person for a short period of time, and there's a lot of atheists who do believe that Jesus was a real person, just a plain old person, and a lot of their reasoning is that he had a brother James, and things were written about James, and it just seemed like there was too much of just a regular family thing going on. But as you can see, a lot of these old myths, they have a lot of family that's written about. You know, they go into a whole lot of detail with the old myths, so it's kind of interesting. But the important thing to remember is who had the storyline first. Now, of course, Christians, if you ask them, they don't care who had the storyline first. That they don't care about whether it makes sense. They say that those prior gods foreshadowed Jesus' coming. So it's all about foreshadowing the coming of Christ. And they don't really even think about the term foreshadowing. To them is a great term because it's magical, it's mystical. You don't really have to define it to anybody. It's just this ooh type of word. But what it's really saying is that the prior gods weren't important and that they were false gods. They use that term a lot, false gods that don't count, and the only God that counts is Jesus, and they were only there just to foreshadow Jesus. But if we really look at this foreshadowing, and you really should challenge any Christians who say that they were there to foreshadow Jesus' coming, really look at it, because what's the purpose of foreshadowing anyway? Most people who believed in Jesus, who are Christians, didn't really know anything about the prior gods. In fact, it's us atheists who tell them, yes, there were prior gods with the same story. They wouldn't have known otherwise. So what was the purpose of foreshadowing? What was the purpose of these prior gods? Why was it important? Why couldn't Jesus have come earlier and saved all of those people, since it was supposed to be so important? Interestingly, in Answers in Genesis, it says that all the people who believed in prior gods, they would be judged by God on the basis of their faith. What faith in what? You know, that's the question, because they had prior gods. What? It's just kind of an odd thing that they wrote that. They just said that, and then they went on to other things. Yeah, they're going to be judged on the basis of their faith. Well, back with the prior gods, there really wasn't a hell anyway. There was like an underworld, and it was just a place where everybody went to. It wasn't a really creepy place. It was just sort of creepy, but you know, then people went up to heaven or came back to earth or something like that. The real hell concept didn't really get going until Jesus, so it's just kind of odd that they would be, you know, judged on the basis of their faith and then maybe sent to hell when the prior gods didn't even have a hell. It gets a little confusing at some points, but anyway, I think that I'm trying to stall here while I find out where I am. I haven't done a video in a while, so I'm a little rusty, and I haven't had a lot of chance to practice this one. But basically, that foreshadowing thing is really purposeless, and it insults the prior gods. It insults the history of mythology by saying that they really don't count. It's just all about Jesus, even though, you know, it makes a whole lot more sense that Jesus simply, you know, the story was written by these prior stories, taking from these prior stories, these interesting things about resurrections and virgins and shepherds and all that kind of thing. So basically, I'd say that foreshadowing is just another excuse, another vague term, so that Christians don't have to really think it through, and they can just believe that their God is the only true God, and that they can believe it by that other vague term called faith.